Guys, it is Tommy here from Saleslucky.com, and today's topic is on the subject of self-education. So I'll kick off today's video with a quote from one of my favorite books. I've mentioned this book many times in this blog. It's Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And Napoleon Hill talks about education in the word educate. He says that word is derived from the Latin word educo, meaning to educe or to draw out, to develop from within. An educated man is not necessarily one who has an abundance of generalized or specialized knowledge. An educated man is one who has so developed the faculties of his mind that he may acquire anything he wants or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. So this is pretty profound, guys. When I read this the first time, I got goosebumps. You know, when you just read something or you hear something and you just know and feel and know to your soul that it's true. Well, this was one of those moments. And it dawned on me how, you know, a traditional education is just not enough to be, if we have the ambition to be all that we want to be, all that we can be. And, you know, I heard this quote from Jim Rohn, which is like an OG, one of the pioneers of the personal development space. He used to say that traditional education will make you a living, but self-education will make us a fortune. And what do I mean by that? Well, by self-education, I mean taking our own initiative, taking upon ourselves to educate and put good stuff in our mind, to feed our minds every day. And, you know, I can't help but think, just as a side note, you know, kids going to school nowadays where they can Google every, you know, answer they could probably think of, or any question they can probably think of, to ask themselves, like, why are we memorizing, you know, the capital of Wyoming, or, you know, whatever it might be. And looking back, you know, if you're watching this video here and you're you know, you're in your career, you're working a job, you've graduated school or whatever it might be, you probably understand that what you learned in school probably has a low degree of relevance to what you're doing today, unless you're like a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. I mean, it certainly is for me, right? And especially if you're in sales, you know. So, you know, I think you get my point. You know, the point is that for a lot of professions, you know, traditional education, especially in today's fast-changing world where everything is online, everyone's connected, is no longer as applicable and relevant in today's society. I was actually listening to an interview with Evan Pagan, internet marketer, and Tony Robbins, and they dropped a couple interesting stats, okay? In our current society, 73% of college grads are not using anything they studied in school. College tuitions grew 8 times faster than middle class salaries. And out of the 27%, the other 27%, you know, outside of the 73 who aren't using anything that they studied in college, of the 27% who are using what they studied in college, 54% of those people say that they absolutely, and this is the actual word that's used, unfortunately they use the word, you know, they say they hate their jobs, and it's not dislike but hate. So I guess the point here is that as our world is changing and continues to change, there seems to be a trend where past traditional education systems are no longer as fitting and just relevant and able to meet the needs of our fast changing world today. You know, the content in our school systems hasn't been updated, the structure, the formats. So I believe, I see that and I do believe that there is a trend happening where more and more people in our world will look towards self-education, whether it's through podcasts, blogs like this, YouTube videos, or courses, or whatever it might be, that when we want to learn something, there's a trend that we can actually go out, whether it's finding it online or finding someone teaching it online who's done it, who's been through it. And what better way to learn directly from that? And the final note that I'll leave you with is, much like compound interest when it applies to wealth and money, you know, knowledge is the same thing, compounded over time. If, let's say, for example, if you just read 10 pages a day or 30 minutes a day for the next year, how many pages or books would you have read? If you read 10 pages a day, how many pages is that in a month? That's 300 pages. Let's just say that's a book. If you just did 10 pages a day and you did that for a year, how many books would you have read? 12 books. How much of an impact do you think it'll have over the course of your lifetime if you read 12 new books every single year? So it's the same idea. Just as wealth and finances, just as those things compound, so does our education. So does feeding our mind with self-education. So just some thoughts I wanted to share with you guys as I've been observing and just been thinking about our world and how fast it's changing and the trends that are happening, and especially in this uncertain time where with everything going on with COVID-19 and everything. I hope you guys got some value out of this video. I hope you guys see things in this uncertain time that'll present you with opportunities. And that you'll be able to take advantage of whatever times and opportunities that life is presenting you with. Anyways, hope you guys got value out of this, and I'll talk to you soon.